The Democratic Republic of Congo, a nation endowed with vast natural resources, has been trapped in a cycle of violence and instability for decades. Located in the heart of Africa, the DRC has been plagued by conflict since its independence from Belgium in 1960. This essay will delve into the complexities of the DRC conflict, examining its historical roots, key actors, and potential solutions. The ongoing crisis in the DRC is not just an African problem, it's a global concern demanding international attention and action. The DRC's vast mineral wealth, including diamonds, gold, and coltan, used in electronics, has fueled greed and conflict. Instead of being a blessing, these resources have become a curse, attracting exploitation by both domestic and foreign actors. The conflict has had a devastating impact on the Congolese people, resulting in millions of deaths, widespread displacement, and a humanitarian crisis of immense proportions. The eastern region of the DRC has been particularly volatile, with numerous armed groups vying for control of territory and resources. These groups often operate with impunity, committing atrocities against civilians, including murder, rape, and forced recruitment. The situation is further complicated by regional dynamics, with neighboring countries accused of supporting various armed factions for their own strategic interests. To understand the current conflict in the DRC, one must delve into its turbulent past. Belgian colonial rule, characterized by brutal exploitation and a deliberate strategy of divide and rule, left a legacy of ethnic tensions and weak governance. After independence, the DRC descended into chaos, culminating in the rise of Mobutu Sese Seko, a dictator who plundered the nation's wealth for 3 decades. Mobutu's kleptocratic regime, while maintaining a semblance of stability, sowed the seeds for future conflict by institutionalizing corruption and ethnic patronage. His overthrow in 1997 triggered the First Congo War, which drew in neighboring countries, each seeking to install a puppet leader. The conflict escalated into a regional conflagration, known as Africa's World War, claiming millions of lives. The 1994 Rwandan genocide, in which Hutu extremists massacred hundreds of thousands of Tutsis, spilled over into the DRC, further exacerbating the conflict. Hutu militias responsible for the genocide fled to Eastern DRC, where they regrouped and continued to pose a threat to Rwanda. This provided a pretext for Rwanda's intervention in the DRC, ostensibly to pursue the genocidaires, but also to exploit the country's resources. The legacy of colonialism, combined with decades of dictatorship, corruption, and regional interference, has created a perfect storm of instability in the DRC. The absence of a strong national identity, coupled with weak institutions and endemic poverty, has made the country vulnerable to exploitation and violence. The conflict in the DRC is a complex web of actors, each with their own agendas and motivations. The M23, a predominantly Tutsi rebel group, has been a major destabilizing force in eastern DRC since its emergence in 2012. The DRC government accuses Rwanda of supporting the M23, providing them with weapons, logistics, and even troops. Rwanda, for its part, denies these accusations, claiming that its involvement in the DRC is solely to counter the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, or FDLR, a Hutu rebel group based in eastern DRC. The FDLR is composed of remnants of the Hutu militias responsible for the Rwandan genocide and is considered a threat to Rwanda's security. Uganda, another neighboring country, has also been implicated in the DRC conflict, with accusations of supporting various armed groups operating in the east. Uganda denies these allegations, but its military presence in the region and its economic interest in the DRC's mineral resources raise suspicions. The DRC government, led by President Felix Tshisekedi, has struggled to assert its authority over the vast territory. The Congolese army, plagued by corruption and lack of resources, has been ineffective in combating the myriad armed groups operating in the east. This has created a security vacuum, leaving civilians at the mercy of armed groups and perpetuating the cycle of violence. The conflict in the DRC has resulted in a massive humanitarian crisis, with millions displaced within the country and hundreds of thousands seeking refuge in neighboring nations. Rwanda, despite its own history of conflict and limited resources, hosts a significant number of Congolese refugees, many of whom have been living in exile for over 3 decades. These refugees, who fled their homes in the DRC to escape violence and persecution, face a precarious existence in Rwanda. Living in overcrowded camps, they lack access to basic services including adequate healthcare, education, and livelihood opportunities. The trauma of displacement, combined with the uncertainty of their future, takes a heavy toll on their mental and physical well-being. While some Congolese refugees have been able to resettle in third countries, the process is slow, bureaucratic, and often inaccessible to the most vulnerable. The international community has a moral obligation to do more to alleviate the suffering of Congolese refugees, both in Rwanda and other host countries. The plight of Congolese refugees highlights the human cost of the DRC conflict and the urgent need for a lasting solution. A peaceful and stable DRC is essential not only for the Congolese people, but also for the stability of the entire Great Lakes region. Finding a lasting solution to the DRC conflict requires a multifaceted approach that addresses the root causes of the conflict, promotes dialogue and reconciliation, and ensures accountability for human rights abuses. International pressure, particularly on Rwanda and Uganda to stop supporting armed groups in the DRC, is crucial. The international community, through the United Nations and regional organizations like the African Union, should impose targeted sanctions on individuals and entities that fuel the conflict. This includes arms embargoes, travel bans, and asset freezes. However, sanctions alone are not enough. Regional cooperation is essential to address the cross-border dimensions of the conflict. The DRC's neighbors must refrain from interfering in its internal affairs, and instead work collaboratively to promote peace and stability. This includes joint military operations against armed groups, intelligence sharing, and border security mechanisms. The establishment of a regional peace and security framework involving all stakeholders is crucial. This framework should focus on conflict prevention, mediation, and post-conflict reconstruction. It should also address the root causes of conflict, including poverty, inequality, and weak governance. Healing a nation. The need for political and economic reforms. While external factors have undoubtedly contributed to the DRC's woes, internal reforms are equally important in achieving lasting peace. The DRC needs a functioning democracy that respects the rule of law, protects human rights, and provides equal opportunities for all its citizens. This requires strengthening democratic institutions, promoting good governance, and tackling endemic corruption. Free and fair elections, a vibrant civil society, and a free and independent media are essential pillars of a healthy democracy. Economic development is also crucial in breaking the cycle of poverty and conflict. The DRC's vast mineral wealth, if managed transparently and equitably, has the potential to transform the country's economy and improve the lives of its people. This requires attracting responsible foreign investment, promoting local content policies, and ensuring that the benefits of resource extraction reach ordinary citizens. Investing in education, healthcare, and infrastructure is vital to create a more equitable and prosperous society. Empowering women and youth who have borne the brunt of the conflict is essential for sustainable peace and development. Boots on the ground, the role of peacekeeping and humanitarian aid. The international community has a moral obligation to help the DRC achieve peace and stability. This includes providing adequate funding and resources for the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the DRC, known as MONUSCO, which plays a vital role in protecting civilians, facilitating humanitarian assistance, and supporting the peace process. However, MONUSCO has faced criticism for its effectiveness and its perceived inability to protect civilians from armed groups. There is a need to reform and strengthen MONUSCO, providing it with a clear mandate, adequate resources, and the political support it needs to succeed. Humanitarian aid is crucial in addressing the dire needs of millions of Congolese affected by conflict and displacement. This includes providing food, water, shelter, healthcare, and education. However, aid alone is not a solution. It must be part of a broader strategy that addresses the root causes of the conflict and promotes sustainable development. The international community must also hold perpetrators of human rights abuses accountable for their crimes. This includes supporting the International Criminal Court in its investigations and prosecutions of war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in the DRC. A beacon of hope. The potential for a brighter future. Despite the seemingly intractable nature of the DRC conflict, there is hope for a brighter future. The Congolese people are resilient and yearn for peace. Civil society organizations are working tirelessly to promote dialogue, reconciliation, and human rights. The international community's renewed focus on the DRC, coupled with regional initiatives to address the conflict, provides a glimmer of hope. The African Union's appointment of a special envoy for the Great Lakes region is a positive step in this direction. The DRC's vast natural resources, if managed responsibly, have the potential to transform the country's economy and lift millions out of poverty. The country is endowed with fertile land, abundant water resources, and a young and dynamic population. Achieving peace and stability in the DRC will require a sustained and coordinated effort from all stakeholders. It will require political will, commitment, and a genuine desire to put the interests of the Congolese people first. Conclusion. A call to action for the DRC. The DRC stands at a crossroads. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, but it also presents an opportunity to break the cycle of violence and build a better future for the Congolese people. The international community must not turn a blind eye to the suffering of the Congolese people. We must act now to support a lasting peace in the DRC. This requires a comprehensive approach that addresses the root causes of the conflict, promotes good governance, ensures accountability for human rights abuses, and empowers the Congolese people to build a brighter future. The time for action is now.